we are at the Canadian Museum of Immigration at Pier 21 in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and we're here to see the Great Eastern Sun exhibit. It's about the Shambhala community in Nova Scotia. And when you enter the exhibit, first you learn about the history of Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche's journey from Tibet all the way to Nova Scotia. His life, as we know, began as a nomad, and then once he was recognized as the Trungpa Tulku, he moved to Dutsitil Monastery, and this is actually his bedroom, and this is his drawing that appeared in Born in Tibet of the monastery at that time. Today, the monastery looks quite different, but it's also being rebuilt, hopefully back to its original splendor, and this is a photograph that's much more recent. In Tibet, Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche was trained extensively by great teachers of the Kagyu and Nyingma tradition. One of his main teachers was Khenpo Gangshar, a great Khenpo and crazy wisdom master, and this is a photograph of Trungpa Rinpoche and Khenpo Gangshar taken not that long before the Vidyadhara left Tibet. And then we also have a photograph of his root guru, Jamgon Khantrul of Sechen, a great Nyingma master with whom Chogyam Trungpa studied from the age of 9 until his departure from Tibet at the age of 20. Exhibit then takes us to the actual journey that he took on this map of Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche's journey from Tibet to Nova Scotia, which began in Sarmang and involved 10 months traveling over the Himalayas to India on foot and with horses. Then the Vidyadhara stayed in India while he was the spiritual advisor at the Young Lama's school. And then when he was accepted to go to Oxford University, he took a boat all the way to England, where he studied at Oxford, then opened the first meditation center that he established in the West at Samye Ling. And then within several years, he and his wife, Lady Diana Mukpo, traveled to North America. They landed first in Toronto and then went to Montreal, where the Vidyadhara taught for several months. And after that, they drove down to Karmacholin, which was called Tail of the Tiger at the time. And then he began his journey throughout North America, establishing his North American headquarters first in Boulder, Colorado, and then finally the international headquarters in Halifax, Nova Scotia. And the Vidyadhara spent many months in Nova Scotia at different times. Also documenting this journey, we have photographs from India showing the time that he was at the Young Lama's school, and he's in the back row next to Sister Palmo. These are some of his students. Also, while he was at the Young Lama's school, Allen Ginsberg and Gary Schneider and others of the Beat generation were traveling through India, and after the Vidyadhara's death, Allen Ginsberg discovered that he had a photograph of himself being shown around the Young Lama's school by Chogyam Trungpa. This is the photograph that was taken by Gary Schneider with Allen's writing about that. Also, while in India, the Vidyadhara met a number of leaders, including Nehru, and this documents that, and he began to meet a lot of Westerners for the first time. This photograph was actually taken in Bhutan, and it shows Richard Arthur and the daughter of the Canadian ambassador to India when Trungpa Rinpoche met them. When in England, the Vidyadhara studied at Oxford at St. Antony's College, and this is his class photo, and you can see him on this side and Akong Rinpoche on the other, and other of their fellow students. After living and studying in Oxford for some time, the Vidyadhara was given this center in Scotland, Samye Ling. This is a photograph of him, obviously in the foreground, and a number of the other Tibetans and Westerners who were there at the time. The Vidyadhara was, I suppose you could say, just too big to remain in England, and at a certain point he became a British citizen, which he was very proud of, and this is his passport from the time when he was leaving England to come to North America, and this is a very early photograph of him and Lady Diana. We show him teaching in Montreal, Then an early photograph of him teaching at Karmacholing, Tail of the Tiger. You can see what an early shrine looked like in those early days, a little bit different from nowadays. We also have a lovely photograph of Chogyam Trungpa with his third son, Gesar Mokpo. It was taken around 1973, and we use this in this exhibit because Gesar lives in Nova Scotia now, and this exhibit was put together here in Halifax. And this is a photograph from Naropa, the early days, Naropa University, and you can see both the early banners and some of the what used to be the Ikebana style of that era, and beaming Chogyam Trungpa, and finally Chogyam Trungpa presenting Shambhala in the Great Eastern Sun, taken by Mary Lang in Boston, 1979. So that gives us some idea of this tremendous journey that he made from a very medieval setting to the modern world, and then from there he came to Nova Scotia. And you have already seen the central piece in this exhibit, and it's in a huge case that was designed for the exhibit, and we included here the photographs of his journey in Nova Scotia. This is the very first time that the Vidyadhara came here. He was getting off the ferry in Yarmouth, Nova Scotia in 1977. The Vidyadhara was in this photograph with the Apple Blossom Queen and her court. This is an annual festival to celebrate the apples blossoming in Nova Scotia, and I think he obviously loved being photographed with the Queen and her court. Then we also included in this exhibit something that we thought really represented his Nova Scotia manifestation, which is the Vidyadhara in a kilt. And this is the Elliott family, which is Diana Mokpo's family tartan. So he was entitled to wear that and wore it with a great deal of pride. So that gives us the journey that the Vidyadhara made, and then the exhibit moves into art and meditation as disciplines that characterize the Shambhala community. And so we have several calligraphies by Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, original calligraphies that were loaned for the exhibit. We wanted to have some things that were not just in Tibetan so that people could relate more directly. And one of the things we were able to borrow is this beautiful love calligraphy. And then we also have a kind of more of a painting that he did with pen and ink. And we did include a print of the very beautiful painting that he did in India of Milarepa's dream. Then, even in Tibet, the Vidyadhara had shown an interest in photography, and the photo we have of Jamgon Kongtrul was taken by him. When he got to India and then moved on further to the west, he really developed an abiding interest and practice of contemplative photography. We have 4 of these photographs in the exhibit. In the upper left-hand corner, we have a photograph he took in Bhutan in 1968 of a dancer. And this was during the trip where he discovered the sadhana Mahamudra Terma, and he took a lot of photos when he was there. Then below that, we have a photograph that was taken in Nova Scotia of a Texaco station. And again, we think that is probably from Cape Breton. And now looking across the exhibit, you can see the meditation room. For this context, we created a very sort of neutral space representing, and there you hear, just on cue almost, the gong that rings every 5 minutes in this exhibit hall. And it was put there, it's kind of hidden away on an audio device, to signal the beginning and end of meditation in this little room. But it actually also provides a moment of wakefulness and mindfulness as you tour the exhibit. Then the final part of the exhibit is focused on the current leadership and the community. And we have these beautiful cases which contain the 7 riches of a Chakravartin, which were loaned to us from by Sakyong Mipam Rinpoche. These originally belonged to the Vidyadhara, Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, and they show the principles of a good life for a Dharma king or for any of us. And they include the queen, representing the principle of companionship and intimacy in one's life. And then below the queen, we see the jewels representing the principle of wealth, and above, the elephant representing patience. And then in this case, the final piece is the minister, who represents friends who will offer good counsel to you. Then in the second case, we have the general, who represents the principle of a friend who will help you and protect you in your life. Next to that, the wheel, representing a sense of command or feeling that everything is integrated in your world. And then the seventh jewel is the horse, who represents the fulfillment of action and exertion. And behind the case, you can see that we also have a number of photographs about the Sakyong and his life and family and work. They include a photograph of the Vidyadhara and the Sakyong. That was one that the Sakyong particularly likes. And so we included that. It's taken by Hudson Shotwell. And then we wanted to show different aspects of the work that Mipam Rinpoche is doing. So we have the Sakyong as author, signing books. We have the Sakyong with the Dalai Lama at the stupa at Shambhala Mountain Center. We have a photograph of the Sakyong in Tibet, and from one of his trips there. Then we have a kind of official portrait of him, Kongma Sakyong, Jamgon Mipam Rinpoche, Jompel Trinley Dradul of Mukpo. Below that, we have something that seems quite current, which is Sakyong as runner and the mind of meditation. And then also we have a photograph from Being Brave with Ani Pema Chodron and Acharya Adam Lobel. We have a photograph from the wedding. It's actually from the Losong a day before the wedding. So it's taken at the Halifax Citadel. And then below that, we have more recent history of the Sakyong and Sakyong Wangmo with their daughter, Jetsun Drukmo Mukpo. We also were able to have a calligraphy by Sakyong Mipam to share with people in the exhibit. And then we wanted to also show the richness of the contributions that both the leadership, the teachers in Shambhala, and others in Shambhala, the contributions they've made to the literature. And so we have on the top shelf, we have books by Sakyong Mipam and by Trungpa Rinpoche. Then we have many, many books by others and books in other languages to show just how vast the Dharma has spread. And then finally, we asked people in our Sangha to complete the sentence, I am here, and to say why or how they are here. And we have almost 200 photographs with people speaking about their completing that sentence. And this goes along with the I am here Mukpo piece that opened the film. So for example, we have Jason Gavros saying, I am here practicing law and the Dharma, though some say they are mutually exclusive. Hudson Shotwell, I am here offering used books and serving good coffee and tea in a traditional coffee house environment. And Hunye Parsinger, I am here and loving it. Sort of, no, really. So you have lots of different people in the community with lots of different approaches. And this is, I would have to say, a real crowd pleaser. So this exhibit was put together both in commemoration of the 25th anniversary, which we're celebrating together during this week, and it was also to celebrate the sense of community. We focused on the Nova Scotia community because that's where we are, and that's what was wanted by the museum, but really this was in part offered to the community worldwide, and we're really happy to be able to share it with people in this way through this film.
I am here Mukpo. The 6 clans of Tibet are somewhat like Scottish clans in that they represent the strength and dignity of family and the power of joining your identity with others. I am from the Mukpo clan. Clan is a general way of relating to reality. Clan is a sense of how to rule the world and how to perceive the world at the same time. The heritage and benevolence of the Mukpo clan are my gift to you. Decency is the heritage of the Mukpos. Why not pass that decency down to you and the generations to come? You can share the Mukpo experience of helping others. My clan is your clan, and I am so pleased that you are joining my clan. My clan has never deceived anybody. I didn't come to America to sit on a comfy cushion. I came here, you realize, to promote and to present everything that the Mukpo clan has gone through. It's real, sweethearts. It takes tremendous effort to be genuine and real, and tonight such effort is being shared with you. Warriorship is being handed over to you. I am giving you the heart of the warrior tradition.
The world does need some kind of help, and it had to be individual help. And I would like to encourage any one of you to go out and try to help people, namely, number one, to reduce speed. Number two, reduce aggression. Number three, trying to encourage people that they could fall in love with something or other. That love is very much needed in this world.